morning. I'm Skyping to you from my office. This is the last live show I'll be doing as Julie Seibert, and we'll be coming to you live in a couple weeks as Julie Caraccio. So in tonight's Reawaken You, I guess no sound effects. There we go. My favorite sound effect. I'm going to spread love. How can you spread love? He's a little excited. In a small way. When I was buying stamps at the post office the other day, I was like, you know what, give me some love stamps, because I thought, even if I put this little stamp on, who knows if it'll make a difference if the mailman sees the love stamp, if the bill people who aren't, in a great mood see the love stamp. That's a small way that I can spread some love. So just look at your life this week and see in what ways you can spread love. And we're going to be talking about seashell healing tonight. What is the significance of the spiral? How can seashells help you heal? What is a seashell reading? We're going to talk about that much and much, much more tonight. Tell you about tonight's guest. Zabi Barnes is a master healing teacher, gifted channel, modern-day shaman, and transformation catalyst. She is a healer's healer and a teacher's teachers. Zabi is a creator of All That Can Heal Sacred Spiral System and author of The Pearlescent Compass, a practical guide for inner transformation and soul path alignment. A gifted spiritual teacher and healer whose personal journey provides a firm foundation for this comprehensive work, she is adept at clearing, strengthening, and aligning physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual energies in others. Zabi draws on the strength that comes from miraculous success in healing herself to facilitate remarkable, empowering transformations for her clients and students. Grateful for having healed and changed so much in her own life, Zabi is passionate about helping others do the same. Welcome, Zabi.
Thank you. Hi, Julie. Good to see you.
I'm so excited to have you on. So let's get started. Let's talk about, what is seashell healing?
Well, seashell healing is using the energy of the spirals and tapping into the cosmic motion of creation. Everything in the universe moves in this spiral motion. It's the movement of life. If we look at trees and we see how the branches are positioned around a tree, or how the petals are positioned around a flower, the spiral repeats over and over throughout creation. And seashells are an amazing way that we can harness that spiraling motion and move forward in our own lives.
So if someone would come to you for a seashell healing, what's the process? Do you have them fill out paperwork saying this is what's going on in my life? Would you, like a crystal, move the seashell up and down their body? And is this something you can do long distance?
Yes, I mostly work long distance actually, but I do also have people come in person. So if somebody comes in person, I can lay the shells on their body. The shells that I work with have been specially amped up with extra energy. So they're more powerful than what you're going to find just on the beach on your own. But even those shells you find on the beach have that spiral energy in them. I pull the spiral through, make it stronger, bigger, so that people can really, really sense it. I work long distance with people. They email me, they tell me what's going on. I have an idea of what shells I would want to work with them. And then I send them pictures of the shells, and I teach them how to become the spirals so that they don't have to have the actual physical shell. I mean, I have a house full of seashells and I love them and they're fun to play with, but it gets cumbersome to carry them around all the time. So I'd rather teach people how to be the different spirals and bring the energy through their hands, and they can use it for self-healing, or for even once they practice it, they can learn how to use it to heal other people as well. So in a session, I give you a healing, but I also teach you how to heal yourself.
Oh, I love that. I think that's so important, because we all have the ability to heal and change our lives within us. And that's why I do the show, because I think you can get help from others, but at some point, we have to own that we own all the answers and can heal ourselves.
That's it. The name of my website, allcanheal.com, and it has a double meaning. All can heal, that anything can be healed given enough time and attention and intention. And also, all can heal. All people can heal. All people are healers. Everyone has the ability to do this work. There's nothing special about me except maybe I spent a little more time learning how to do it. But everybody has this inside of them.
I so appreciate you saying that, because I've definitely have met people who, I just talked to someone the other night and they're like, oh, I have healing power and I'm going to be able to heal everyone. And, it's kind of putting themselves on a different plane
Mm-hmm.
than people. And, I just believe in healing ourselves. So if someone comes in, you would place the seashells on them. And can you talk, maybe if you were doing long distance, would you hold up the seashell?
I
And
do. I work a lot. It depends on how I'm working with the person because I offer sessions both by Skype and by phone. So when we have Skype, it's easy for me to hold up a seashell right up to the camera, and I can get pretty close and I can kind of hold it and I can turn it and show you the back side of it. But on the phone, it's harder to do that. So on the phone, I send you a picture of it in advance or afterwards, after the fact. Usually before, I'll send you the picture, and we use the picture as a focal point, and I actually give an attunement or an energy transmission download, whatever you want to call it. I give the attunement so that spiral goes into your hands, and all you have to do is think of the image of the shell, and you can bring that energy back to yourself anytime you want.
Oh, I love that. Now, you do the seashell healing. Do you use seashells to do readings on people?
I do, and actually, I created a seashell healing deck, and here it is. I'm not. Let's see. You can
Oh,
see
that's
it's
good.
got
We can see it.
75 different shells. These are photos of my personal seashells that have been super charged up with energy. And each one, you can do a reading with them. You can pick a card, ask, what do I need right now? What do I most need right now? So I actually did that before the call. And I asked, what does the audience most need today? And I actually got two cards because they stuck together. And so I paid attention to that. And the first one was clearing anger. So, we all get angry. We all have things that happen in our lives and we get angry. And this particular spiral, you can place the cards on your body and it's the same effect as if you had the shell. And you can get the healing from the cards. And so I'm going to emanate the energy of this spiral bigger right now. And anybody who has anything where they're unresolved anger, anything, maybe something irritated you today, maybe it's a long anger that you've been carrying and it's like a weight on your shoulders. So open up and ask for it to be released, and I'll bring through the energy of this particular spiral for you. And take a deep breath. And already I can feel the energy. It's already starting to move. It's starting to move. So we're not gonna do a lot with this one tonight, but we're getting that going. And when you put your head on the pillow tonight, you may feel that spiraling continuing with you, and let it go. Let the anger go. The second card that came through for the group is gratitude. So I saw that these two went so well together because if we can be grateful for the anger, grateful for the people that created those situations and gave us the opportunity to heal that in our lives, that also helps. It helps everybody. It uplifts us. It's the love energy that you were talking about.
Oh, that's fantastic. No, it's been interesting. I feel as I've been on this journey, I've had a lot of anger and I'm just like, okay, well, come up and release, you
Yeah.
know? And I had a mini meltdown a couple weeks ago. And after I was able to step back, I was like, okay, what do you need to learn from this? And I was like, I have to be grateful because it was something really deep that kind of wasn't my stuff. It was some family stuff going on that kind of got stuck in me. I'm like, okay, now I know it's not mine, but now I can release it. But if that person hadn't annoyed me, I wouldn't have had the opportunity to get rid of it and let it go.
That's it. That's it. Everybody is our teacher. Every situation is a teacher. And we can either hold on to it and be in resentment and poison ourselves with that, or we can go deeper and we can ask for the healing.
Now, until I met you, my spiritual coach was like, you got to check out Zavi. And until I went to your site and asked you to be on the show, I had never even heard of seashell healing. And so, and that's what I love about this show because I learned so much. But talk about how seashell healing is so powerful and transforming and helping people change their lives. Why is that?
Well, I have a theory. I don't always have all the answers, but I definitely have a theory. I know that it works. I can't give you the scientific explanation for it, but I believe all of this goes back to 1997 for me. And at that time in my life, I was in a really, really dark place. My husband had just left. I had a 4-year-old daughter. I didn't know how I was going to raise her by myself, and I was desperate. And I started praying. I knew two prayers. I knew the Our Father and I knew the Hail Mary because I had taught Catholic school. And so I actually thought, well, Mary must have been a great mother because Jesus had to have been a handful to raise. And so I chose that prayer that I had memorized from saying it every day with the students. I had a plastic glow in the dark rosary that somebody had given me from Medjugorje, if you know about Medjugorje in, I think it's Yugoslavia. So I'm clutching the rosary and I'm saying the Hail Mary, and I didn't even know the right way to do the beads or anything, but I just was doing what I knew how to do. And all of a sudden, shapes and colors began to appear, and the next thing I knew, I was flying through space. It was like what you see on Star Trek. It was like when they do warp drive, but it was this spiraling and spiraling, 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 different spirals. It would be sharp and fast, and then it would be wide and sweeping, and it was this movement and this dance. And at the same time that I was going out and I'm flying past star systems and galaxies and all of this stuff, at the same time it was as if I was going into subatomic space, into DNA. All the movement was spiral, spiral, spiral. Now this experience lasted for 3 days. 3 days. I did not leave my room. I didn't have to go to the bathroom. I didn't eat. I didn't drink. I was out for 3 full days. And I think I was just praying so hard that I got a miracle. And I was shown kind of what's behind the scenes of what we see as our physical plane reality. But after that experience, I was never the same. And after that experience, healing energy came through me in a way that it didn't come before. Now, it's taken me 16 years to get to the point that I can verbalize it and to find a way to teach other people that spiral energy. And it was the seashells. My whole life I've collected seashells. People have given me seashells, and I had a jar, an apothecary jar of seashells right by my bed, and it was the first thing that I saw in the morning when I woke up, and it was the last thing I saw at night when I went to bed. But I would find there were days when I would look at this jar and an hour would go by. And I didn't know where I had gone. And I realized I was going back into that place that I was for those 3 days. And I came to understand that the seashells serve as vehicles to connect back with that amazing healing energy. And then once I had that realization, the different shells started to come to me. I didn't have a background in marine biology. I didn't know the names of the different types of shells. I mean, I played with them and I thought they were pretty, but I had no idea what they were called. And they started coming to me in dreams and telling me what they were for. And this one is for grace, and this one is for stress relief, and this one is, and they would tell me, and they would show themselves in the dreams, but they wouldn't tell me their official names. And so the work for me, the physical plane work, was Googling pictures of seashells till I found the one that was in the dream and finding out what kind of shell it was and what it was called. And then getting one. I order a lot of my shells online, and getting it and testing it and trying it out on my friends who are my guinea pigs and finding out that, oh my God, yes, this really does work. And so that's kind of where it comes from. That for me, it's not about the shells themselves. It's that the shells are vehicles for tapping into that universal cosmic spiral energy.
Now, I want to remind you, if you have a question for Zabi, you can chat it in or call 919-518-9773 or Skype Computers 2K Voice. Again, we have this expert here, and if you always wanted to know something about seashells, now's your time to ask. Zabi, before the show started, I was saying to you, gosh, when I go to the beach, I feel like time stops. I'm completely in the present moment. Is it because of the shells? Do they have an impact in that spiral energy? Does that
I
maybe
think
contribute?
there's a lot going on there. I think there's a whole lot of things happening at the beach. First of all, you have the waves, you have the waves, the water, that's part of that spiral of creation and the movement of the earth around the sun. And the water carries that and it comes in and it comes out and it's that dance. There's a guy, and I can't remember his name, but I just got his book, and it's a book of photography of grains of sand, and the individual grains of sand, close up, microscopic photography, and it's amazing what's in these grains of sand. Many of them are little bitty spirals. Many of the grains of sand are the tip very, very beginning of the seashell, because they get knocked around and that little tip gets knocked off and it becomes the sand, and you have all the colors. There's so many energies just in the sand. And so to me it's such a primeval, primitive energy that is the heart and the soul of the earth that you are right connected with when you go to the beach.
Well, I absolutely love that. Can you maybe share some stories of clients that you've done seashell healings on and how it's helped them and helped transform their lives?
Absolutely. I have helped people with addictions. I have helped people a lot of pain relief, also healing minor things like headache or sore throat really quickly, but also chronic pain that's lasted for years with the shells. I have a relatively new shell that's for aligning, and it works on the bones, and it's amazing. And I've done that, and I've actually helped people adjust their spine. I can't really use those words because I'm not a chiropractor, but it had that same effect, and they got off the table, and it was like that. They said it felt like they had had a chiropractic adjustment. The shells work especially well for changing behavior, so that's why it's good for addiction, but also anything that you want to step into or leave behind. You can work with the shells to support that change that you want to make in your life. Psychic development, amazing work with opening the third eye and remembering past life talents that you may have once had, especially when it comes to healing. I'm drawing a blank now. Insomnia have helped people with insomnia. So sometimes it's physical stuff, sometimes it's emotional. Heart healing, really good for the emotional heart healing. For self-esteem issues, great for self-esteem issues also.
Will you please get on national TV? I was talking with a friend today. In all seriousness, we were talking about women, and we were talking about the Miley Cyrus video, and she just did. And I don't watch a lot of TV. I couldn't miss it because it was everywhere, and I'm not a big news person either. But I'm like, gosh, I just can't miss this thing. And when I saw it, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna watch it. I just felt there was this desperation, this trying to get attention, and you read all these stories of these young women who just their self-esteem's awful, and it just breaks my heart.
Right.
And I'm like, how can we change that?
I saw that video. I saw a little bit of it. I couldn't watch it, but I could see the pain. I could see she doesn't know who she is. It didn't even feel like that was her. It felt like somebody else put her up to it, and it wasn't even her. It was like she was an indentured slave up there doing something that wasn't even authentic for her. And so if somebody came to me like that, I would want to work with authenticity, first of all, to help them find what do they really want, because we waste so much time, and I've been guilty of it much of my life. I won't say most of my life, but much of my life, of trying to be like other people, or looking up to somebody and then thinking that I have to do it the way they're doing it, instead of finding my own way. And now the more I follow my own truth, and the more I do things from a place of joy, not in a selfish, hedonistic way, but if it lights you up inside, that's authentic. if it dims you, if it in any way shuts you down or makes you want to hide or pull the covers over your head, then that's not authenticity. And so I would want to work with people to bring that out.
What shell would you use for that? Is there a specific, or, and let me ask this, do you use one shell at a time or can you combine shells?
I do both. I do both, and I give the information about the shells in the classes, in the trainings, in the sessions. But you know how like the iPhone, they say there's an app for that, right? So there's a shell for that. Whatever it is, there's a shell for that. And if there's not, if I don't know it yet, and you tell me something you want to work on, I will actually ask to find it. And within a week, usually it comes to me, and I'm able to find it and connect people with it. Um, so yes, absolutely. There's a shell that helps people get more in touch with their inner truth and also with their true creative expression, not not doing what you think others want you to do.
Yeah, I'm with you. I lived a lot of my life trying to please someone else and or what I thought I was supposed to do and was right. And when I kind of let all that go, that's where I found my happiness.
Right. Right.
Now, I wanted to ask you because, in addition to seashell healing, and we'll get a lot more into that, you are what I would call a leader in the consciousness movement. So, I would love for you to talk a little bit more about spirals and consciousness and raising awareness and how it can help with that.
Thank you. Yes, absolutely. So, first of all, the history of the spiral, the spiral has been around forever, and the early shamans were aware of the power of the spiral, and there are cave paintings that have the spiral, and it's believed that they would actually gaze at that spiral on the wall of the cave as a way to access higher realms. Where I live in Arkansas, about an hour and a half from me, there's a it's not exactly a cave, it's a rock formation, but it has the ancient cave paintings, and there's a spiral painting there. And yeah, absolutely. And the thing is that if you look at nature, I talked a little bit about the plants and how the plants spiral around, and then look at the natural vortexes that occur with tornadoes, with hurricanes, but also our galaxies. 77% of known galaxies are spiral shaped. So that spiral motion goes way out. And then what is the essential building block of us? The DNA. What shape is that? It's the spiral. We also have the spiral in our ears. The cochlea is a beautiful spiral. Google it and see what it really looks like. It's beautiful. So yeah, that spiral energy, and even healers, those of you who are Reiki practitioners are familiar. In Reiki, there's a spiral. Now that's a flat spiral where the seashell spirals bring us through other dimensions into the three-dimensional and beyond that into the higher realms. So I wanted to answer the question about the consciousness. The spiral for me is a metaphor about moving forward on our path. And every moment we have the chance to either spiral up or spiral down or stay where we are. And we all know about the downward spiral. And I definitely was a master at the downward spiral for much of my life. And what that looks like is you make a mistake, then you beat yourself up for the mistake you made, so you go down further, and then you get more depressed, and then you beat yourself up for being depressed, and it's just never ending, down, 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 down. The upward spiral is you make a mistake, you say, gee, that didn't work. How can I do that differently next time? Oh, maybe I'll try doing this differently instead, and you just keep moving up. Now, sometimes we have to go down to get up, and so that's why some people go in the downward spiral, because it's almost like jumping down. Like when you want to jump up in the air, you bend your knees to go down first, and then you spring upward. So it seems like some of us are wired that we have to have the downward spiral to hit bottom, and then that catapults us up. And as long as once we get that movement up, we keep going up, it's a wonderful thing.
Now, what is a spiral activation?
So that's an energy transmission. That's what I spoke about a little while ago, about connecting people with the spiral that goes way beyond the seashell. So here's this little shell right here. It's not terribly big, right? But the spiral goes way deeper into the microcosm, which would be into the cells of the body, into the DNA, into the subatomic space. And it also continues out and out and out, all the way out through the galaxies. And with the spiral activations, I attune your hands, just like in Reiki. People who are familiar with Reiki, you receive a Reiki attunement. Up until that point, you can understand about Reiki, you can read a book about it, you can have some knowledge of it, but you don't have the full experience till you receive the attunement. And it's the same with what I do with people. I attune their hands and tap them into those spiral energies that I had experienced for those 3 days. And with that attunement, their hands get hot, their body tingles, they have all kinds of interesting sensations, and they put their hands on their body. And there are specific points for some of the shells that I'll tell people, like the one we're going to do this evening. There are specific points that serve as gateways for the energy to come in the strongest. And so they put their hands and they feel it almost instantly, or they sense it, or they don't feel it at all, but then they turn around and do it on their husband, and their husband feels it and is blown away by it. So that's what the activations are.
Can you talk a little bit about your course? I mean, is it for people who've learned Reiki, or is it for lay people who just have an interest on maybe healing their families? And, does it go well with certain things? And kind of what do people learn? How does that work?
It's for anyone and everyone, and the whole system is set up so people can do as little or as much as they want. And so you may just want to do one and that's it, or you may want to do all of them and become a teacher of it, and that's great too. And beginners do wonderfully with it, but advanced people go way out into the cosmos with it. So it just depends on where you are and what you're looking for. And for some people it is self-healing and that's all they're interested in, and other people really want to heal, maybe are practitioners and they want to work on clients. I suggest anybody who wants to be a practitioner spend a significant amount of time working on themselves also, because that's what makes you a really, really good healer. And so yes, and the deck is great for people who would rather have a tool instead of having it. Not everybody wants to have it put into their hands. Not everybody is ready to be the spiral, but they might like to have the tool that they can just pick a card and place it on their body and have an energy that way.
Fantastic. Now I want to remind everyone, if you have a question for Zabi, 919-518-9773, or Skype Computers 2K Voice, or chat a question. I'm happy to ask it. Can we do some show and tell now and just show us different seashells and give us all your knowledge?
Absolutely. All of it. All right. All of it in less than an hour. We'll see how much I can do for that. All right. This is an abalone shell. And this particular abalone shell has had the rough, crusty outer layer removed so that you see the beautiful pearlescent, shiny, iridescent. This is the back side of it. You see it's a spiral. I hope you can see that. And then the front, the inside of it, there again is the spiral. It's a broad, sweeping spiral. This is, if you're going to learn one and one only, this is the one to learn. This is the shell for pain relief. It also is great for chakra balancing, for those people who know about the energy centers of the body. It brings them into balance. So I want to give a demonstration, first of all, with me sending the healing through the shell to you. So if you have an ache or a pain, Hopefully you don't. But if you do, maybe a little headache, maybe your neck, your shoulder, something. I want you to just take a hand and place it on the part of your body where you feel pain. And if it's hard to reach, like if it's in the middle of your spine, then just come to the front of your body across, because the energy will go through. So don't be straining your muscles to reach up, between your shoulder blades or something like that. So just put your hand right there, and I'm going to now emanate this energy of this spiral for healing through the ethers, I guess, through Skype. And there, I'm watching you, Julie, because you're the one that I can see. So I'm seeing already that the muscles are starting to let go. It's your spine. It's the vertebrae there's like a tightness there. And I'm seeing that it's already, can you feel it? It's already like you can breathe between those vertebrae where you couldn't before.
Yes, no, I've had have had constant, not constant, but a lot of pain in the lower back. Yeah.
Absolutely. So what are you experiencing as I do this?
I feel like a spiral energy. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's in the it's so I've got so for people who can't see, I've got my hand kind of really on my tailbone, and so I just see this, like literally we're talking about the spiral energy going up and up like this, and as you're talking about, it's kind of clearing out the crud and loosening the energy. It feels like
All
it's
right.
stuck.
And I'm going to ask the viewers, did you guys just see the color on the screen change as she was speaking? Because I definitely saw it, and it was almost like an energy just came out of you and released like a poof. And it was, the colors changed and it got a little pixely for a second, and then it was clear. And that's a sign for me when I work with people on Skype that the healing worked. So very good. Very, very good. So anybody who would like to learn what I just did, if you go to my website, allcanheal.com, and click on free gifts, there's 2 recordings right at the top of the page. And the first recording teaches you how to work with the actual shell. And the second recording, because you can work with the shell, you can just get an abalone shell and place it over wherever you have pain. And then the second recording will activate your hands to this particular spiral. So I'm going to leave that as an invitation to a homework assignment for you guys to do later. And I want to share another shell with you this evening, if that's all right, Julie.
Absolutely, and I would just want to share a comment we have from a viewer on Skype, and I don't know how to pronounce this. Zanuiz says, amazing neck pain I have had all day gone.
Wonderful, yay!
And I'm glad
that's why I love the shells. They're fast. They are so fast compared to other forms of healing that and beginners, I can teach them in a second and they've got it and they're doing it, and it's just the fastest thing I've ever experienced with healing. It's wonderful.
That's fantastic. So please share another shell.
All right. So when I meditated on what was a good shell to share with your audience this evening, the one I got was the Power Up shell. So this one is for, when you feel like you want a little more oomph. And the thing is about this shell is it balances the physical energies and the spiritual energies. And most of us are stronger in one than in the other. So some people are really, really strong in their physical material plane energies. They're really strong in their body. They exercise. They also maybe are really good at manifesting things in the physical material world, but they're not so connected at the spiritual level, and they get depleted because of that. Chances are your audience is going to have the opposite problem. Most of them probably are much more connected in the spiritual energies and not as connected in the physical plane energies. And God gave us 7 main chakras, and we are supposed to use them in that proportion, but so we have our favorites, and so we tend to hang out in our third eye or in the crown, and we get disconnected at the physical plane. So this shell is called the turbo shell or turban shell. Let's see. And it's all about amping up the energies and blending the energy of spirit and the energy of earth so that it brings it into a better balance, which automatically amps up the energy field. Now, I want to show you a smaller one of this because this one also is really pearly. You see the pearl, it's shiny. It had an outer crusty layer, just like the abalone shell that I showed you. So here's one that's little, same kind of shell, but small. And see, it's got like this outer crusty, I don't know if you can see it very well. But I wanted to use the pearly ones for you, Julie, because your show is called Reawaken Your Brilliance. And underneath our crustiness, we all are these beautiful pearlescent beings filled with the rainbow colors of light. And we forget that sometimes. So let's remember and reawaken, because it's in there. We just have to wake it back up, that bright light that we are, and how we can shine it. And one great way to shine it is by blending the energies of spirit and earth and bringing all of that out into the world instead of just half or half. So I would like to actually give you guys the attunement for this one and put this spiral into your hands. And anybody who would like the visual as a focal point later, you can email me. If you go to my website, allcanheal.com, and click contact and tell me that you listened to Julie's show and you would like a picture of the shell, and I will send you an image of this particular shell that has all the energy in it, and you can use that as a focal point to help you reconnect with what you're about to get from me right now. So right now, what I want you to do, I want everybody to cup your hands. So you see how my hands, I have my thumb along the side, I have the fingers together. If I were to pour some water in, it would not spill out. And I'm not straining. I'm still relaxed, but there's no space between my fingers. And there's a little bit of a cupping thing happening. So I want you to place your hands just like that, palms up on your lap comfortably, and take a deep breath. And I'm actually attuning each of you who is live with us right now, as well as the people who will listen to it at a later date. You may sense pressure, change of temperature, tingling, many different things you may experience while this happens, and you may experience nothing whatsoever, and that's okay too. So take a deep breath. Some of you will experience it more strongly if you close your eyes. For others of you, it will be stronger if you keep your eyes open. So give yourself permission to experiment with that. And remember to breathe. And I want you to imagine that your hands are turning into this particular spiral, which I'll hold up again so that you can look at it and see it. The shells create a sort of energy vortex. The spirals, they're an energy vortex. And they can bring through different specific energies. So this one, you're being connected with the energy vortex spiral to blend spirit and earth energy and power up, amp up your energy field. Very, very good. And now I want you to wiggle your feet, wiggle your head, wiggle your fingers, come back into your body. And we're going to try it out now. Everybody take a deep breath. All right. Now, the gateways for this spiral, the place that goes in the best, are the third eye, right in the middle of your forehead, and the second chakra, which is, it depends on what chakra system you've studied. So the one I work with is just a few inches below the belly button. If you have a different point that you're used to working with, go with what you're used to. It's okay. The spirals will find you. All right, so you're going to cup your hands just like what we did, and you're going to place one hand over each of those points. You can't see my lower hand, but it's there. And play around for a second, because most people have a preference of which hand they would like to have on top. And It might change from day to day, and that's okay. It's best to go with what feels right to you. So now in this space under your cupped hands, see, we're not doing the healing work ourselves. We're not running off of our own energy. So we're going to call in angels, any angel that you would like to work with, or all of them, or some of them. Your guardian angel definitely will show up, and then maybe Archangel Michael, anybody that you would like to come in. You get to choose how many you want to come. And sense them joining you in that space under your hands. And some people sense a pressure or a fullness happening as they call in the angels. I know I'm getting really hot all of a sudden, like it's 100 degrees in here, and it's not. Next, we're going to call in any ascended master that you might like to work with. And that could be Jesus, it could be Buddha, it could be Krishna, it could be Blessed Mother Mary, any spiritual teacher who walked the earth. And they come when you call them. And it's a grounding energy because they were connected to the earth plane. So now they're dancing under your hands along with the angels. And to get the party really going, we're going to call in Holy Spirit. Whatever that means to you. And Holy Spirit comes in with a really electric kind of energy. And then you can just hang out there. Now, I know some of you might have your arms getting tired, so why don't you bring your arm down and shake it out. This particular position I like to do either lying back in a recliner or lying on my side. It's not good to strain your muscles. If you get to the point that it hurts to keep that arm up there, then remember the point, bring the hand down, keep it cupped, and put your focus on the point. Don't be going into pain over it, because that doesn't help. Okay? So that is the healing technique. That is the activation. And from this day on, all you have to do is think of the turbo shell. And if you remember to email me, I'll send you the picture of it. And your hands will automatically switch on that spiral. The key is the cupped position. That's sort of like turning the light switch on, is putting your hands in the cup position and then calling in angels, ascended master, Holy Spirit. And they do come. All you have to do is ask, and they're there.
That was fantastic. I want to remind everyone this is recorded. So if you want to do it again, or if you came in the show now, or you're watching it, you will be able to watch this again. What's interesting for me, I felt it in my hands, which is where I usually feel things, but in my feet,
Yeah.
like kind of this almost up to my knee, this energy, something going on. It was just very interesting because I usually don't feel a lot. Now, does that mean I needed to be more grounded, or really it's insignificant? That's just where stuff moved.
It's different from every person, and I mean, I could make up a story about it for you, but I don't think you need the story. It's just, notice, oh yes, I'm getting a healing, something's moving. You can look at your life and say, okay, do I need more earth today? Do I need more spirit today? Or do I need to just redistribute how those energies are running in my life? But yeah, if you're sensing stuff move, because the spirals are about movement. If you're sensing something and it's showing you that energy's moving, then say, yay!
Yay! Now, Zabi, we have a question for you I want to get to on chat. And I want to remind everyone, if you have a question for Zabi, chat it and I'll ask it, or call 919-518-9773 or Skype Computers 2K Voice. Zanyus wants to know, first said I have fibro and pain is hard to get rid of, so thank you. She was the one who had neck pain. She asked, does the size of the shell matter at all?
That is such a great question. So, I have the same shell. I have one that is about that big, and I have the same shell that is about that big. I use the big shells for teaching purposes because in a group, it's easier for me to hold it up and everybody can see it. Other than that, it's a matter of personal preference because there's as much power in that little bitty shell as there is in the big one. Now, I happen to have a dog that eats seashells, And so I do better with the bigger shells because she can't eat those, and she'll eat the little ones, and I have to be really careful with the little ones not to let her get to them. But yes, that's a wonderful question, because remember, it's not about the shell. The shell is the teacher of the spiral. The spiral goes so much bigger than the shell anyway, that the shell is the visual representation. My truth with this is that these animals that create these shells, they live at the bottom of the ocean. They are so connected to the heart of the earth. As the waves wash over them, carrying the spiraling energies of the solar system, the galaxy, they entrain to these spirals.
We've got, are you there, Zabi? We lost you, kind of froze. Okay. We'll try one more time. Are you there? You froze for a second. Okay, I think we lost Zabi for a second, but we will get her back shortly. I want to remind you, if you have a question, you can call in at 919-518-9773 or Skype Computers 2K Voice. And while we're waiting to get Zabi back on, September 24th, we have our next online class for our Reawaken You series, which is simplifying your life from the inside and out. So if you got a lot of clutter, you're feeling overwhelmed in life, you can find out more information at reawakenyourbrilliance.com. And if you look under the Reawaken You series, there's more information and a link to purchase tickets. It's done through the show channel here too. We let you watch the show for a week afterwards. So if you miss something, that's why we also record the show. You can go back and listen to it later. And we're getting Zabi on here in a moment. Do we have her up yet, Amnon?
Nope, I'm trying.
Okay, so we're still getting Zabi back. So are you there?
I can hear you, but I can't. Let's see. Where's the video? I can't find the video.
Right below your picture, there is a icon of a camera.
No, there's not. Usually there is, but I'm not seeing it right now.
Well, while we have that, Zabi, we have a question from Suzanne for you.
Okay.
Is there any cleaning or clearing that needs to be done from time to time? I'm assuming she means on the seashells, or just like you said, just about the spiral and the shell connects you to that. Because I've heard, people clear crystals. So that seems to be the question. Do you have a thought on that?
I do. It's the same as with crystals. So whatever your favorite method is of clearing crystals, if you like to wash them in salt water, if you like to put them out in the moonlight, my favorite way is blowing on them. I've been trained to do that in the shamanic tradition, and so I just blow them, and the energy goes out. And so, but that's a great question. And also, when we do healings, we want to clear ourselves, and there are many ways to do that. And my favorite way is to shake my hips, shake my shoulders, shake my head. And that throws off like water off a dog's back, throwing off the hips, throw off the physical stress, the shoulders throw off any emotional stress, the head throws off any mental stress. And so that's something, before you do a healing, you can always clear yourself that way as well.
Oh, I like that. That's good to know. So, Zabi, if someone was at the beach just hanging out, could they grab a seashell and do a healing? Do you have any recommendations for that?
Absolutely, absolutely. So now the shells that I work with right now are what we call univalve shells, which mean they're the spiral shells. I'm not working so much with the with clam shells or oyster shells where it's a double. Those have a different energy altogether. So right now what I'm saying, I'm talking about the kind of shells that spiral, and they call them univalve shells. So with those type of shells, when you find them on the beach, you can pick it up and you can speak into it. You can say your prayers into the seashell and say what's on your mind, what's on your heart. And then you can put the shell up to your ear and listen and see what you get. What do you know? What do you suddenly know? What insight comes to you? What energy comes to you? You can listen with your ear, After you've said your prayers into the shell, you can hold it up to your third eye, or you can hold it at your heart. You can also bring it down to the belly button, which is the dantian, and that's the point in the body that really connects us to the physical body. And if you hold it after you say your prayers, if you hold it to the dantian, you may well start sensing that spiraling energy, that spiraling dance of creation coming through.
Fantastic. Now you've got me thinking, can I somehow, it's too late for the ceremony, but I'm getting married. I have a big conch shell. Can we do something for the day of the wedding with that?
Absolutely. I'm going to have to think about it for you, Julie, though. I don't have a wedding ceremony right away, and I would want to see what kind of conch shell you have, because there are many different types of conch shells. I would want to see which one do you have. But absolutely, throughout history, the shell has been used in sacred ceremonies. Here in Arkansas, we have the Toltec Indian mounds, and I recently went there and saw a video of it, and they talked about that one of the things that were traded there, because it was a trading center for this part of the country, and that they traded seashells. So we're in Arkansas, which is landlocked, and people were bringing seashells from whatever shore they got them and bringing them to Arkansas and using them to trade for other items that they needed. There was some recognition of the power of the seashells. In India, there are shells that they put on the altar, and they're very, very sacred. They build shrines around these shells, and you find this also in Tibet. So the seashell for eons has been recognized as a sacred object. Different traditions, different meanings, but definitely a recognition of the power there.
Oh, fantastic. Well, I'll send you a picture, and if you have any suggestions, I'm open for it now after learning even more about seashells. But can you talk a little bit about how Atlantis and Lemuria and healing DNA in relation to working with seashells?
Absolutely. So I've been told by many, many spiritual teachers, psychics, that this work that I'm doing is rooted in Lemuria and Atlantis. And I began a few years ago having memories of that and having it confirmed by masters that I look up to. And so when we were in Lemuria was very much the feminine energy, and it was very much about healing. And in Lemuria, we were so in tune with nature that we actually could go into the water, reach down, and ask for the shell that would support the healing, especially those of us who were shamans at that time. We could ask for the shell to come to us that would support the energy of that person. And even if it was a shell that didn't come from that part of the ocean, they would actually travel, almost teleport into our hands. We would lay the shells on the person. They would receive the healing. We would say thank you, and then put the shell back in the water. So that's how we worked in Lemuria, very much hands-on with the shells. By the time we were in Atlantis, when we were in Atlantis, it was much more the masculine energy, and it was the magic. Where Lemuria was more the healing, Atlantis was much more the magic. And in Atlantis, we spun light into the different spirals. At this point, we didn't even need the shells. We could spin the light into the particular spiral shape for that particular purpose. And so with the work that I'm teaching tonight, you can either get the shell and lay it on the body, or you can receive the attunement and spin the spiral out of light like we did in Atlantis. Either way works.
Oh, that's wonderful. Now, Zavi, there are a couple questions I like to ask each guest. The first is, what advice would you have for someone who's really struggling right now? They're in a dark place. Maybe they've lost their job. They're going through divorce. Maybe they're awakening and don't know what's going on. What would you say to them?
I would say all can heal. And I don't mean that tongue in cheek. I mean, everything. There's hope. There's always hope. There's always healing available, and it's about asking for it. And sometimes the soul sets up situations to take us into the healing, to bring us to that point of desperation so that we do surrender and open up to the miracles that are waiting for us. And so I say all can heal. Hang on to that truth. If I can do it, anybody can do it. And I know this is true. All can heal.
Now, you've given us lots of good information tonight, but what one thing can people do right after the show, before they go to bed, or tomorrow morning to reawaken their brilliance?
Well, we talked about spiraling up. So I want you to keep spiraling up. I want you to ask, what can I learn from this? Not why me, but what can I learn from this? And notice the patterns in your life, because as we spiral up, we come around to the same similar situation on the spiral, but we're at a whole new level with it. And the more we can acknowledge that, instead of beating ourselves up, acknowledge it and say, oh, okay, I must have moved around and I'm up at a new level now, but this time I'm going to move through it faster. It's going to be easier. And then you come around again, and a year, 2 years later, there you are, but you're at another higher level. And to the point where then you start to share that knowledge, that wisdom, that healing that you've received, you start to share it with the people around you. And together you continue to spiral up.
Oh, that's wonderful. You've said so much, so many wise things tonight. Now, Zabi, tell us again how we can find out more information. Do you have any upcoming classes or workshops, or tell us where people can get your book, share all that good stuff?
All right. So my website, www.allcanheal.com, allcanheal.com. There's a schedule there. You can see my upcoming classes. I offer private training by Skype and by phone. I work with people all over the world. I love the one-on-one work because we can go so deep, and that's available anytime. In general, the pricing for one-on-one work is the same as for the group class, so it's just about, would you prefer to do it as a group experience, or would you prefer to do it with flexible scheduling at times that work for you one-on-one, and go really deep with that. The deck is available also on that website. Anybody who wants to order the deck, it says Healing Deck. And if you click on other products, you will find information about the book and also about some recorded classes that I did with the spirals. And I invite you, I would love for you guys to sign up for my newsletter and to check out my blog. Lots of articles there as well that can help you spiral up.
Fantastic. Well, it was wonderful. We really appreciate you being on, and we'll definitely have you on again, Zabi.
Thank you so much, Julie. And congratulations about getting married. That's very exciting.
I am. He was worth the wait, and you know what? He came after I did a lot of work on myself. I got to a point where I was happy, and, I credit the show with a lot of it because I do research, and it's just taught me so much. And I've tried to apply as much of that as possible. And it's, always my hope that viewers and listeners take everything from the experts here and apply it to their own life. And you've given us lots of great advice on that.
Wonderful.
All right, everyone. We will see you here next week. And again, check out our class, Next Reawaken You series on, I'm sorry. I forgot what my next class is on changing your life from the inside and out. But I talked about it earlier. What can I say, folks? I'm getting married in less than 10 days and have a lot on my mind. All right, we'll see you here next week. Bye now.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. Our weekly lineup of call-in programs includes Computers 2K Now with Amnon Nissan, Sundays, 9 a.m. till noon. Carrie's Psychic Cafe with Carrie Silkowski, Sundays, 8 till 9 p.m. Health In with Debbie Bruck, Mondays, 11 a.m. till noon. Breaking Free with Marilyn Shannon, Mondays, 1 till 2 p.m. Lessons of Vietnam with NCVVI members, the second and fourth Wednesday of each month from 7:30 till 8:30 p.m. Reawaken Your Brilliance with Julie Seibert, Wednesdays, 9 till 10 p.m. And if you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it at www.nissancommunications.com. Sponsored by ThatVidBlasterGuy.com, CarolinaApparel.com, and DeltaForce.net.